Hello everyone, it's Crazy Mike 1706. In the future I would like to make more Japanese and indie DVD show reviews. However, there's a problem. You see, most wrestling fans don't want to watch anything that's not related to WWE or TNA, and so that really makes it hard for many people like myself, because we want to advertise more companies, we want to advertise more wrestlers, because people like myself love professional wrestling and we know that there's a lot better wrestling out there. But moving along, I would also like to see more commenting on my vids, more debating on my vids. So if I can ask you guys a favor and just troll a little bit and argue if you feel that it is necessary, debunk some comments or whatnot. And yeah, let's just have more back and forth intellectual debates on here. Some debates may get immature and a little bit heated, but you know what, that's life. Anyway, let's move on. Politics, professional wrestling, fans complain about it a lot, and I will agree that fans complain about it a little bit too much, and they sometimes accuse wrestlers of playing politics when really they're not. However, I have a problem with the people who want to defend politics in professional wrestling. One of the most immature arguments on behalf of politics is, well, it's been around for a long time and therefore we shouldn't mind it. I have a problem with that. You see, politics helped bring down WCW. You can make the argument that the AOL Time Warner deals have brought down WCW, but people, remember this, okay? WCW is a product, okay? Let's say you have a banana store and you have an Apple store. Now, the Apple store is making way more money than the banana store, but the Apple store is not offering fans what they want, and fans start to turn away and go to the banana store and spend their money on them. What's going to happen to the Apple store? There you go. That's what happened during the Attitude Era. WCW was on top, was killing the WWF at the time, but repetitive storylines, the same guys on top over and over again, and just politics that caused these things ruined it. And this caused a lot of fans just to turn away from WCW and say, you know what, screw that. So yeah, the AOL deal did screw it over, but guys, you have to remember, WCW became a subdivision of AOL, and even though AOL wasn't interested in professional wrestling, if it was making the money that it did, if it had the fan base that it did, I doubt they would have pulled the plug on it. And also, I got to point out the hypocrisy between the wrestling community, like I do almost all the time. Often wrestling fans complain because guys aren't getting pushed, because a certain person didn't win the title, because matches are becoming stale and lackluster. Well, you guys have to realize that those three things are not always, but sometimes they are attributed to backstage politics. Because if a worker doesn't want nobody else looking good, what do you think that's going to do to the match? If a worker with a lot of power, doesn't want to share that power a little bit, what do you think is going to happen to up-and-coming talent? Again, back to WCW, a lot of young talent weren't getting pushed because the veterans were just throwing their weight around. And so I also have to point out that if Hulk Hogan would have still stayed in WWF, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart probably would have never been champion. I cannot, maybe, but highly unlikely if he still would have stood there. And again, fans say that, people like Rick Rude, people like Mr. Perfect should have been champion, but these guys were victims of politics again. And so, yeah, so that's another problem with politics. It doesn't just hurt the business, it hurts the fans, because it kills what fans want to see. Fans want to see entertaining matches where it's, two-sided and, you don't know who's going to win. But when you have a political tyrant running around, you pretty much know this guy's gonna win. There's still gonna be some unpredictability here and there, but still fans want more variety, not too many surprises. But again, it's the entertainment value, and politics tends to kill that off. Another argument in favor of politics, which I will say is rather valid to a degree, is that you can't blame certain wrestlers for politics due to the fact that in the end it's the boss that's in charge of the entire company. Again, it's valid, but on the surface. Now, the booker also has a lot to do with the matches. However, they don't outline the matches completely. So a wrestler can make the decision to make another wrestler look good. So yes, you can blame the wrestler for politics. Let's look at The Undertaker for a second. How many times have you seen this man get in the ring with anybody and he could make them look way better than what they really are? So if a guy goes in there and he wants to make a wrestler look like a piece of crap, if he wants to make a wrestler look less credible, the owner of the company has nothing to do with it. He does, alright? So yeah, again, that argument is rather you know, good on the surface, but it doesn't fly with me, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't fly with a lot of you guys. In any event, it's Crazy Mike 1706. Later in, mates.